Hey planner friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm planning from the 9th to the 15th of June in my Archer and Olive notebook, and this week I am using the kit Festival Vibes from Plannerface. I have the Advent version of this kit, so I have a few extra bits and pieces as well as an extra box add-on. So I have the box add-on that came with the Advent, and then I also got an extra box add-on when this kit was released because I feel like I'm going to need it this week. I'm also using this gorgeous rose gold foil again from Plannerface, and this is the kind of summer theme, and then I have extra bougie boxes because I feel again like I'm going to need them this week. So this week I went to a music festival in Austria, and this was kind of like my summer holiday, and I had the best time, but I have so much to try and pack into my A5 spread that there's going to be a lot of extenders this week. As always, I have all of my stickers pulled out in my Plannerface reusable sticker album and my planning notes in front of me, so let's get cracking with the base of this spread. So as you can see, I have 5 full days this week. I have my Monday and Tuesday kind of squished up over here on the left hand side, and I have no sidebar at all because it's not going to fit. So I'm going to start off with this tiny little piece of sidebar that I'm doing up here, which is literally just for my June script, and that is in rose gold and it's from Plannerface as well. And then I have one of the little stars that comes on the foiled monthly scripts, just because I felt like June's not like the longest name of a month, so I wanted a little bit of extra space. So that's the sidebar. There isn't one. Now we can start adding in my date covers. As you can see, I have pre-dated my date covers. Can't lay them down straight there apparently. So yeah, this week was kind of like my big summer holiday. We went to, can't lay anything down straight apparently. We went to Austria. So we flew into Vienna, and then you get like a train from Vienna to the festival site, and then we were camping for the 4-day festival. It's like the same weekend as Download, but one of my favourite bands, Electric Callboy, was headlining. So me and my friend Becca had talked about doing a festival this year, and then as soon as I saw that Electric Callboy were doing their first like ever festival headlining slot at NovaRock, I was like, I have to go. I went to NovaRock about 8 years ago, so I haven't been to like, no, yeah, I went to NovaRock 8 years ago. That was my first like camping festival, and I haven't been to a camping festival since because they're a bit intense for me, and kind of last time we weren't really prepared for the weather. So with like festivals in the UK, you kind of expect the weather to be rubbish and for you to just spend a weekend being covered in mud. But with NovaRock, not muddy, very hot, very dusty. So yeah, we struggled last time with like the heat basically. This time we were definitely more prepared because I knew what was going on, but we had like such an amazing time. I saw so many bands, pretty much every band that I wanted to see, and pretty much all of them were amazing. So it really had like a whole week of just like live music in the sun. And it's now the Tuesday following this week. I would normally like leave this memory planning to like the weekend, but I don't want to forget anything, so I'm still kind of in that holiday mode even though I have my first day back at work today. So I want to get this spread done while everything's still fresh in my mind, because then I have the videos kind of like memory keeping as well as this spread. So once I've added in the glitter headers, we can start adding in some full boxes and bougie boxes and all that foily goodness. I never thought I would be like a big rose gold person, but this is like the 2nd or 3rd time that I'm using rose gold, and I think especially with this kit, because it came with rose gold in the Advent, I was like, well, I kind of have to use the kit that it came with. Let's do the washi. I think that this kit came with a 15mm washi, but I have no idea where I've put it. I can't find it anywhere. So I am just using the regular washi that came with the kit, which is a bit more green. But I think the washi that I'm missing kind of matches the date covers, so maybe that would have been too much brown. Yeah, I'm not mad about having a lot of green in this spread. So for the header overlays, just gonna add all of these in. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up on camera, but I think rose gold showed up okay the last time I used it. I think it's actually my second rose gold spread this year. I'm not even counting the fact that I did 2 last year. I always thought I was more of a hollow person, but I've definitely used up the rose gold that I have so far. And then I think, because the sun pattern is in the headers, I think I might use this washi. Fold it over a little bit on itself so it doesn't stick to the other side. So yeah, the weather was delightful. My friend that I went with had never actually been to Austria before, and she said that she'd always thought of Austria as being like the cold country because quite a lot of it is like over the Alps and like mountainous. But in the summer, especially when you're in like southern Austria or like lower Austria, it does get quite hot. So when we were like planning the trip and everything, and a couple weeks before we went, the weather forecast was like 30 to 32 degrees on some of the days, and I was like, that is going to be sweltering for a festival. But thankfully it wasn't quite as hot as that, because I think we would have both struggled. No, we will. I'm going to put down all of the bougie boxes that aren't over where I need to have extenders. So I've put a lot of like planning into this spread because I know that the amount of like cutting and trimming I have to do for bougie and extenders is quite significant. This spread is going to be even busier than my trip to Berlin in March. And also, like I said in my last plan with me, which I edited yesterday, last year and like the last couple of years, I've really been like focusing on getting my portfolio done for work. And now this year I've like done it and I've started my new role. So it's kind of been a real treat to myself to be able to do all this fun stuff that I wasn't letting myself do while I had so much other work going on. Okay, well, that's super wonky, but it's down now, so we'll just have to live with that one. Try and fix it with others. Okay, so I've done these quite a few times since moving to this planner. They are always stressful, but we're going to do a whole bunch of extenders. So I want the scene over Friday and Saturday. So cut a little piece of sticker paper to be our hinge. Then I've just lined up my bougie box on the back, fold over my little hinge, and there we go. And then I'll just secure it on the other side with the other bougie box. Nice. And then I'm gonna do that for a whole bunch of them. On Wednesday, I don't need extra space on the underside, so I'm just going to do 2 different full boxes. My main issue with these ones is that I need to remember to have them not the same way up. Otherwise, when it flips, the underneath one will be upside down. The problem is, once you've pulled them apart once, it's really difficult to pull them apart again, or like stick them together again because they curl. Go. So now I just have the bottom ones and Tuesday to do. I actually ran out, so I always use this corner of the like sticker sheet, and I ran out of plain ones because the glitter add-on and the box add-on both have writing up here that I didn't want to show through the sticker, so we're just stealing the corners of pre-used sticker sheets that I haven't thrown away yet. Cool, and then on Sunday we headed home, so I kind of want to use one of these. I have 8 things to fit in, so it's not a lot, so I might use this Fashion Girl because I'll have a little bit longer than a full box. And that way I can use her because she's not in any of the smaller boxes. Okay, I am going to cut all of these little bits and pieces that I need to fill in the rest of the bougie boxes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have all of the bougie boxes filled in. I just need to add some overlays to all of my full boxes, and then we can get into what happened this week. So we'll start with the double box. Okay, not my best, not my worst. Okay, so there's those 2 all finished. I think I'm going to put the border over this Fashion Girl, all 4 corners over this one, these 2 corners over this one. I'm not going to put an overlay over this one because I feel like that will just like bulk it up way too much. And then I'm going to trim the full box 5.6. Yeah, so I've just trimmed the tall box overlay down. Okay, so that is the base of this spread, and it's kind of daunting that there's so much space on this, but I'm really excited to fill it in, so let's get cracking. Okay, so starting off on Monday, I know I've got a pink glitter header and I don't normally like doing this, but I'm going to start with a pink quarter box, and then I'm going to put in, so that was I did my memory planning for the last plan with me this morning, and then I had the sort of everything shower pre-festival. I then had a sports massage because my back had been a bit funny the week before, and I didn't want sleeping in a tent to stress me out too much and make my back bad again. I'm then going to skip orange quickly so that I can use it on the one where I have an orange icon. So Becca then arrived, and then I'm going to use orange to mark in us packing. So we packed separately, but we needed to repack when she arrived because we had some stuff that had to go in each other's bags. And then finally we got some pizza in the evening. just because I couldn't be bothered to cook. Okay, so for memory keeping, I have the planner doodle from the kit, and then for my everything shower, I have the like hairbrush and shampoo doodle from the kit. For my sports massage, I have one of my Paper Shire chiropractor bananas, because I always go for my back. And then for Becca arriving, I just have the car from the foil bundle because I went to pick her up from the station. For us packing, I have a suitcase doodle, and then for some pizza in the evening, I have this little pizza slice. Okay, so that's the boring day out of the way. Tuesday, this was our first travel day. So I'm going to mark in that it was, oh, not with that colour, actually, yeah, I can do it with that colour. So I'm going to mark in that it was our travel day. I think I can get rid of the quarter box instead of that one. Nice. Okay, so we had booked business class for our trip, because it was like the amount of hold baggage we needed, it was actually like £30 more to go business class. So we got to feel very bougie in the business lounge. We then had our flight, so we went from Heathrow. So like we got the bus to Heathrow and everything, but I didn't want to put in every single different bit of transport that we had this day. Once we were in Vienna, we checked into our hotel. So we had a hotel for the first night because I can't deal with camping that much. We then had a couple drinks at the hotel. I think I need to mark some things in a bit bigger. So check-in can stay small. Flight can stay that size as well. But business lounge can be bigger. Yeah, so we then had a couple drinks at the hotel, and then we had to go and do some like last minute shopping. So we've got too much choice now. Oh my god, I'm being so indecisive. You know when you want like a spread to be perfect because you had an amazing week? Okay, so we did our last minute shopping, and this was like some bits and pieces that we'd forgotten. But also we did our like pre-festival like food shop. For dinner this evening, we went to Swing Kitchen, which if you remember from my Berlin video, I also went to Swing Kitchen in Berlin because it's like a vegan burger place. Their food is so good. And I know that I can eat there, and I know that Becca would eat there as well. Because Becca had never actually been to Vienna before, we went to Karlsplatz because it's like right by Swing Kitchen, so that she could say that she'd seen at least like one place in Vienna that wasn't just the inside of a hotel. And then in the evening, when we were like in our hotel, I popped on Kika and we watched a little bit of Bernard Dasbrot, who was still in space like he was when I was in Berlin. I feel like I just want to rearrange all of these again. So the camping for the festival did actually open on the Tuesday, so we could have not had a hotel this night, but camping is the worst part of a festival for me. Like, Becca goes camping all the time. I am not a camping person. The last time I went camping was the last time that I went to this festival. Okay, got there in the end. So, for it being travel day, I have this passport doodle from Plannerface. For being in the airport lounge, I have just a coffee cup doodle from the kit. For our flight, I have a plane which is left over from a Plannerface monthly. For checking into our hotel, I have the alarm clock from the foil bundle. For drinks at the hotel, I have a little wine glass from Plannerface. For our shopping, I have the grocery doodle from the kit. For Swing Kitchen, I have Lottie, who I'm just going to trim. Lottie enjoying her burger. For Carlsplatz, I just have this boot deco from the kit because we walked. And then for Bernard Dasbrot, this is going to be a bit of a squish, but I have Vanilla watching an Earth documentary because he was in space. So that is Tuesday. Okay, Wednesday, the first thing that I'm marking in is that we got the train to NovaRock. So OBB put on specific trains for NovaRock, which I think is just such a smart idea. We then got our wristbands. Once we got the train, this is quite a trek to the campsite, but I'm not marking in things like trekking. And we then set up our tent. And then once we had set the tent up, we just like chilled for a bit. And also Becca plaited my hair, so I had like Dutch braids the whole time we were there. Okay, it sticks out a little bit, but I'm just gonna go over it. Next, so the whole festival was cashless, but for some reason Becca's original wristband, the cashless wasn't working on it, so she couldn't buy anything. So we had to go and wait in like a long ass queue to get that fixed. But then we were ready to go into the arena for day one. So I'm just going to put day one in. Okay, so the first, I'm going to work from the bottom up to make sure that I can fit everyone in. So we didn't end up watching Korn because by the end of the day Becca's back was like really hurting. So I listened to Korn from the tent. Squeeze that in. On this day I was really excited for Spirit Box, who were playing before Korn, and one of my favourite bands who I've seen a couple of times recently. I've never seen them with a crowd this big. That was The Ghost Inside. For The Ghost Inside we saw From Fall to Spring. I might have to switch a bunch of these over. And before that, this is boggling my brain having to do this backwards now. Before that, we had got some dinner. So we got enough food to like be able to eat breakfast and lunch at the tent, but we were having our dinner like in the arena. And then I guess I'll put the warning in slightly bigger. If I put the warning in on this one, and then we'll put Spirit Box in bigger. I feel like although I have the extra box add-on, it doesn't give me extra quarter boxes. Right, so you need to be this way. Yeah, it doesn't give me extra quarter boxes, so I might still struggle with how to put things in. Okay, Ghost Inside. And then Spirit Box. Okay, so we've got a little coffee cup doodle to mark getting the train. These wristbands from Papershire to marking getting our wristbands. I had a little tent from a Planner Face sampler, so I've got that for setting the tent up. For chilling and doing each other's hair, I just have some wine glasses because I was having a drink while we were doing our hair. And then I found this, again, on a Planner Face sampler, so I figured that fit for cashless fix. I was like struggling with like ways to mark things in. I spent like an hour pulling stickers out for this, I think. For it being Nova Day 1, I have the star from the foil bundle. For the warning, I have just some deco. For my pasta salad, I have the fork and knife doodle from the kit. For From Fall to Spring, I have a little wristband doodle. Then for The Ghost Inside, I have Squidge playing guitar. For Spirit Box, I don't know who this is supposed to be, but Courtney from Spirit Box has like long dark hair, so I figured this fit for Spirit Box. And then let me just switch this one over at the bottom. For listening to Corn from the tent, because you could still hear it, I have Squidge singing in front of an audience. Okay, so that is Wednesday. Moving on to Thursday, I'm going to start off by marking that it was Nova Day 2. We started off the day with some beers in the sunshine, and I have a massive sticker for that, so it's going in big. I then wanted to mark in that my deodorant melted because it was so hot inside our tent, and this wasn't even like the hottest day that was predicted, so we were off to a really good start. And then when the arena opened this day, we went and got some merch. Let's go a bit bigger for merch. So we went and got some merch. The first band we saw this day was Polaris. Oh, that's going to be right next to the same thing. So it was quite warm. Like I think this was about like 2:30 in the afternoon that we were watching them. They were all wearing like jeans, and I was like, where are these people from? Because they're all wearing jeans. No one is wearing jeans. And it turned out that they were Australian, so then the jeans made a lot more sense. We then saw Nothing More, which is a band I'd never really listened to, but Becca really enjoyed, and they were actually really good. So that was really nice. It was really nice to like see bands that I would never have gone to see if Becca hadn't picked them out. So we then went to see Ginger on the other stage, so we had to kind of split a bit, like finish before the end of Nothing More set. But then after that we saw Poppy, who was one of the artists that I was really excited to see, and she was so good. So Poppy. We then popped back to the tent for a bit to have a little bit of a sit down. I've got a massive sticker for this as well. Well, we'll just work it out. Yeah, so we went back to the tent to sit down. Once we'd had our little like bit of rest, we went back into the arena and we watched a band called Apocalyptica, who all play like cellos. I then had a little flatbread for dinner, which was, I would say, the worst meal that I had this like week. But there's Motionless in White, who are a band that I was like not super bothered about seeing, but then actually we got there and I was getting a bit like overwhelmed with all the people and everything, and they were so good. I'm then going to pop in one of these little extra glitter headers just to fill in that bit of space. Next we saw Rise Against, who were incredible. And that needs to be a different colour, so we'll just peel that back up again. Yeah, we were watching Rise Against, and this guy next to me turned to him and was like, his voice has like been the same for all these years, it's incredible. But I didn't actually have a clue what he was saying because he was speaking to me in German, but then he spoke to me in English because my German's like okay, like I got around, I managed to get away a lot with like speaking German people without them, and they would respond to me in German and then I'd get a bit stuck. I really want Rise Against to be in that big, but I think I might have to trim that down a smidge. Okay. So I didn't want to trim this on my planner because we don't want it to go wrong. Okay, you'll never know. So then the headliner for Thursday was Linkin Park, and Cradle of Filth were playing at the same time. Now Becca, when we were when we were teenagers, really liked Cradle of Filth, so we went and watched a little bit of Cradle of Filth. and the lead singer was so salty that the majority of people at this festival had gone to see Linkin Park. And it was so funny, so I'm calling them like Cradle of Salty now. And then we went back to watch Linkin Park, who unfortunately were a little bit disappointing. I don't know whether we were just like too far away, but I really didn't want to compare Linkin Park this time to the last time I saw them, which was also at NovaRock, with Chester, because I wanted to give their like new lead singer, or their new singer, the benefit of the doubt. But I just felt like she was too nervous to like actually sing the older songs like I know that she can, because I've heard her do it on like the recordings, so it just all felt a little bit flat. Yeah, so that wasn't my favourite. But for it being Nova Day 1, I'm just adding in another piece from the foil bundle. For having some beers and sitting in the sun, I have Lottie relaxing on a deck chair. For my deodorant melting, I have this nail polish that's spilt because like my deodorant melted. Like I have one of those like stick deodorants, and I like went to put it on and it just all wiped the whole lot up my arm. So that was fun. Then for getting merch, I have Squidge with a little band t-shirt on. I then have started using some deco. So for Polaris, I have some sunglasses. And then for Nothing More, I have this. I might actually get a bigger bit of deco for that because that is tiny. For Nothing More, I'm going to use this little pass deco. For Ginger, I have a little drink deco. And then no, that was for Poppy. For Poppy, I have a drink deco. For Ginger, I have the coffee cup. Was that? What am I doing? Yeah, I guess for Ginger, I have the coffee cup. I don't like that. For Ginger, I'm going to use another star because I've got loads of icons from the sheet. For having a little tent sit down, I have a Lottie who is overheating. And then for Apocalyptica, I found this violin deco, which I think is deco from like an old kit that I kept just in case I ever needed a violin. And here we are, using the violin. For my crap flatbread, I have the fork and knife deco. For Motionless in White, I'm just going to use this ticket deco from the kit. For Rise Against, I have Squidge. For Cradle of Filth, I have this sour grapes from Papershire because I think that fits perfectly. And then for Linkin Park, I just have the balloon doodle. Okie dokie, that is the first half of this week. Moving on to Friday, so this is day 3 of Nova. So I'm going to start with a little thing to mark in that it was day 3 of Nova. I'm really sorry if you can hear Reggie. Stop licking your paw. Good boy. So on this day, we started off by watching some people who were camped near us playing flunkyball, which is like a drinking game in Europe. And it's really fun. On this day, we did a bit more merch shopping because on the first day, not all of the merch was out. So like it depends on when like bands got there. So we did a bit more merch that day. And then the first band that we watched on this day was Baby Lasagna, who were amazing. I want it to mark that in bigger, okay, and in pink. Cool, right. I was so worried about like not being able to fit everything in, which I know I've done this before, but it now means that I'm marking things in too small. Okay. For watching some people play flunkyball, I'm gonna add in this sticker instead. And then for merch, this fit. No, too big. I'll use another one of these for merch on this day. Okay, cool. Yeah, so Baby Lasagna were incredible. We then watched... cool. We then watched Amaranth. And then I had a really good burrito. I think I would say that the burrito was like the best food that I had on this day. It was the best food that I had in the festival. So we'll mark in burrito. We'll mark in burrito straighter. Cool. We then went back to the tent for a little rest. I don't really want to mark in tent resting too big because we did it like every day. Let's go for this one. So a rest in the tent. And then we watched a band called, I'm probably not going to say this right, Revoltes, who are a French band, who were very political. In a good way. Well, in the way I like anyway. Yeah, so they were really good. We then went to watch Lorna Shore. I don't really listen to a lot of Lorna Shore. However, I was like, I feel like I should go and watch them. And they were really good. However, unfortunately for me, Becca wasn't as much of a fan, and she wanted to go and watch a band that I do not like called Biffy Clyro. I've got quite a big character sticker for Biffy, so it's gonna have to be marked in big. But yeah, I don't know what it is about them. Like they're inoffensive, but I just don't like them at all. I've left myself too much space for this day. Okay, half boxes. The headliner for this day was Slipknot. I've never seen Slipknot before. They were incredible. Then, unfortunately for me, the girl behind us spilt her whole drink down my leg. I might add one more thing in for this day, actually. So we sat down for we went to get a seat for the last bit of Slipknot further back because my shoe was getting real sticky and it was a sensory nightmare. Weirdly, Slipknot were the headliners, but then Powerwolf played after them, and then we worked out that it was because they were going to Switzerland to headline a different festival the next day, so their crew probably needed, you know, time to move everything. But yeah, because of that, Powerwolf went on until like 1:30 in the morning. I know like at British festivals, the festivals like Download and stuff, the festivals start at like 10, like bands start at 10, whereas this one bands start at like 1 because of the heat. So it means that the headliners go on really late. So let's do the star for it being Nova Day 3. I've just got a bit of deco from the kit for watching Summer Flunkyball, and then a vanilla with sparkles in her eyes for merch, because this is the day that I bought my Electric Callboy merch. I then have this balloon animal for Baby Lasagna because they were just so much fun. So I found this balloon animal on a sampler and I felt like it fit. And also they had like a neon pink trombone, so I had to put them in pink. Amaranth, I've just got a bit of deco from the kit. For my burrito, I have Lottie. I know she's got a taco, but like it's close enough. For having a little rest at the tent, I'm going to grab a different bit of deco than the one I had. And then for going back in for Revoltes, I have the other shoe that I used it down here, just a bit of deco. For Lorna Shore, I have Squidge. For Biffy Clyro, I have Lottie with a headache. Like, there's nothing about them that I should dislike, but I was just sat there listening to them like, I hate this. For Slipknot, I'm actually going to switch these around. For Slipknot, I have another vanilla. Oh, maybe I'll swap that for a different one, actually. Just so that I don't have two of the exact same vanilla on the same day. Do vanilla. And then I just have a drink for the whole drink going down my leg. One of the drinks that I had a couple times, it was like a white wine spritzer, but instead of like lemonade, it had Red Bull because festival. So she basically tipped like an entire Red Bull with wine down my leg. Then for Powerwolf, I have another Squidge playing guitar. And then for us being up super late, I've just got this eye mask, which I was going to use from our little tent rest, but I switched them around. Okay. I'm obsessed with how this is turning out so far. Moving on to Saturday. This was the last day of NovaRock. It's just cool. However, that did mean that it started with, and please excuse my pronunciation of this, but Wendy's Bombischer Blast music, which is like just, I think, traditional like Austrian music. Actually, I'm gonna mark it even bigger than that. Wendy's gets one of these. We then watched a band called Django 3000. Oh, so Wendy's Bombisher Blast music, they're basically, it's like an umpire band situation. And they like tap a beer keg and there's free beer. But this day was the hottest day and it was so hot in the morning that I'm going to be using a sun cream squidge to mark that one in. We then stayed at the same stage and watched Django 3000, and then we went and sat down in the shade for a bit, and when I stood up my bum bag broke. So my bum bag is currently being held together by carabiners. We then, when we were sat down, we were looking at the Reddit for the festival, and there was a protest going on because apparently a man had pooped on someone's camping chair that he'd borrowed, and people who were camped near him, near the shower blocks, had a little protest about it with signs such as "My chair, my choice," and stuff like that. And yeah, we found out about this and I was like, amazing, fantastic. We then watched a band called Vesengold, who are kind of like Irish style folk music, so I'm gonna use green for that one. And they were really good. They had a really cool, like, not pit, but like people were dancing in the middle, and yeah, super cool. I then need pink. We then saw a band called the Butcher Sisters, who when we got to them, they were playing a song that was all about cans of White Monster. They seemed wild. And then we went back to the tent for another little tent break. Oh, I was going to use something big for this again because it was just sweltering. Yeah, it was so hot this day. I think it was 27 degrees from like midday. It's the one day that I caught the sun a bit. I'd done so well with my sun cream. As you can see from my arm, I even have a little bit of a tan because we were just outside for like 4 days straight. Yeah, so we went back to the tent for a little bit. We then came back into the arena and watched a band called Menes Moose, who were again really fun, but it was like just sweltering. And then we watched a band that's like local to me, called Idols, and again they were really, really good. And then halfway through them we went over to watch Dragon Force because they were playing on the other stage. Again, super cool, and Anna and Beth will be really proud of me because I've listened to exactly one Taylor Swift song now this year, but it was a cover by Dragon Force. I then I might put Dragon Force in a bit bigger actually. Yeah, because we've got more stuff to put in. Let's put Dragon Force in this big. Cool. We then got some dinner. So this day I had just some pasta, just, you know, some nice pasta and sauce. And then we went back to the tent again. This time because we had to like make quite a swift exit in the morning, we did a decent chunk of our packing this day, because the last couple of bands before the last headliner were all bands that are really big in like German speaking countries that we don't really know very well, so we had time to like just go and pack. We had the final headliner, which I'm going to mark in with a movie marquee, which was Electric Callboy, one of my favourite bands, and they were so good, and yeah, it was just incredible. And then after Electric Callboy there were some fireworks, so I'm just going to add in a swatch, just so you know we can see some of the foil coming through. Okay, so character stickers. For this day, to mark in Nova Day 4, I have a heart, and then to mark in Vendy's, I have this squidge putting on sun cream because it was so hot. For Django 3000, I have a guitar deco from the kit, and then because my bum bag broke, I have a Lottie who is upset. I might just trim that one. I didn't really have anything good to mark in the little protest thingy, so I'm just using the paper clip from the kit. And then for Versengold, I have just some deco. For the Butcher Sisters, I have this can that I got from like a sampler because he had a can of White Monster that he just poured down himself. So I figured the can fit pretty well. And then for today's tent break, I have another very hot Lottie. Not super happy that that happened, but I'll just have to get over it. It happens all the way through my Berlin one as well. It's too difficult to, like, when you don't have the glitter headers in the middle, to work out where these are going to fold down to. Oh well. For Mena's Moves, I have some deco. For Idols, I have some different deco. For Dragon Force, I have a squidge. For my pasta, I have some salad. It's kind of works. For packing, I have another suitcase doodle from Plannerface. And then for Electric Callboy, I have a big squidge with a guitar. And then for the fireworks afterwards, I have Lottie with fireworks. This is from a New Year's sheet, so she's all bundled up. Which doesn't really fit the vibe of it being like a super sweaty day, but it's the only fireworks I had. Okay, moving on to Sunday. This was the day that we left, but it was also Father's Day, so I'm going to mark in Father's Day first. I'm then going to mark in that because it was like the last day of the festival the night before, a lot of people were like partying, and people have been partying like the whole time, so I didn't think too much of it, but like I've been like sleeping with earplugs and like a eye mask on. So I'd actually got like a decent amount of sleep through the whole festival. And then on this last night, one of the guys that's camping next to us decided that like 2 AM was the perfect time to try and learn to like scream, like metal vocals. And I just really wanted him to shut up, and he didn't the whole night. So I got like 3 hours of sleep. Love that for the big travel day. Although I'm not putting in every single train that we had, I am putting in that we got the Nova train back. And then this was the reason that we like business class is the way forward. We showered at the airport and washed off all of the festival muck. Even if we showered before we left the festival, the walk from the festival back to like the shuttle bus would have covered us in muck again. So we had like the best shower ever at the airport. We then got our flight back to the UK, and then I was reunited with Reggie, my bestie. He was very excited to see me and Becca at home, and then we just had like a super lazy evening. Like went to bed quite early. Is this gonna fit? I can wiggle things around. I could just use that one. Yeah, we just had like a super lazy evening. I could put one more thing in actually. So I know I said that I wasn't going to put in like every single train, but once we got off the Nova train, we then had to get a train to the airport. and we accidentally sat in the family carriage of this train. And like the family carriage on Austrian trains has a little TV set up for kids. Actually, I'm not going to fit this in. It has a little TV set up for kids, and this TV was like just making the most irritating like children's TV noise. And I had already put like our bags up on the shelf above us, so I was like, we're not moving. I'm so tired. And yeah, Becca has a video of me just looking like I want to kill myself on a train. It was a bit much. Okay, for it being Father's Day, I just have the birthday present doodle from the foil bundle. For having no sleep, I have the pillow doodle from the kit. For the train, I have a car doodle from the kit. I don't care that it doesn't mean that it's not a train. And then I have the bathtub doodle from the kit for showering at the airport business lounge. Then I have a little plane for our flight. And then I have the paw print doodle from the kit for being reunited with Reggie. And then I have this squidge, which is from a sampler. It says introvert, but it's just like a blanket with like just being cozy at home. And that is all of my stickers down for this spread. I think I'm just going to fill this in tomorrow because I'm pretty sure I need to go make dinner because it's like Tuesday night. Yeah, I will fill all this in and I will be right back to you guys. So here is the spread all filled out, and I absolutely love how this has turned out. I am so happy that I decided to like hoard this kit and use it for this festival week. I fit so much in. It's kind of a bonkers spread because I have 4 extenders, and yeah, it just looks super busy, but that is all of my wonderful holiday week down in my planner. If you made it this far in the video, leave me a sunshine emoji. But that is everything for this video, friends. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye!